Hi, my name's Jess. I'm from Australia and I have functional neurological disorder, or FND for short. So my symptoms can vary, not in just degree, but just in general. But mostly I experience tremors, I experience seizures, functional limb weakness, dizziness. I have issues with mobility, and I have chronic fatigue. Yeah, I consider myself lucky because I'm in Australia, so it does mean that I have free healthcare, or at least some of my specialist visits are reimbursed by Medicare. But when I was first diagnosed, it was a little bit of a struggle to seek treatment, just because who diagnosed me saw FND as a mental health problem. And so my treatment was very limited to just seeing a psychologist, but lucky enough, my psychologist was very versed in FND. And it has been getting better now that I've seen a better neurologist who has better understanding in FND. I'm now seeing a neurological physio. So things are getting better, but they could be better again. Absolutely. I think being a woman and experiencing just a debilitating condition that you're not sure what it is, and that is very much impacting on your life, and you're trying to find out what's wrong with you. So in my experience, I have endometriosis and FND. So I have two very stigmatized conditions. Endometriosis affects people with uteruses, and unfortunately it is quite under-researched. And look, the more negative person inside me wants to say, because it is a uterus-only disease. But yeah, so it took me 15 years to get diagnosed with endometriosis, and that was because most doctors that I saw me as a teenage girl that couldn't handle pain. And with FND, it wasn't as bad. It took me a couple of years, but I think at the time I was sort of seen as, a person with anxiety. And so I very much had to advocate for myself and find a better doctor that would actually listen to me, because I knew that anxiety didn't cause seizures. So yeah, I want to put my sex as the reason as to why both of my diagnoses were stilted. And I mean, statistically, we know women aren't seen as seriously as men, even down to, I think women have to wait, I think it's around 56 minutes longer than men for when they are presenting in an emergency room seeking pain medication or pain relief. So men, they get it right away. Women, statistically, wait around 56 minutes longer to actually be taken seriously. So it's not an anecdotal thing, it's very much a real issue. So what I know about Women's Brain Project is that they center their research around, the experiences that women have in the medical field in terms of both mental and neurological brain problems or diseases or disorders. And so it's shining a light on what women go through, because women are different to men in how they experience these issues. And not only that, we know that in a textbook or in studies, it's usually the male anatomy that is always focused on and not the female anatomy. And that in itself is ridiculous. So I very much appreciate what Women's Brain Project is doing. Me personally, I think just as a woman with functional neurological disorder, I would say just shining more light on what FND actually is. FND does statistically affect women more than it does men. And so I think there very much could be something that Women's Brain Project could do in terms of advocating and spreading awareness. Extremely important. So just to go off what I was saying, just statistics show us that the medical field does not see women as seriously as men. We very much are seen as emotional and hysterical beings, and because of that, there is this unconscious bias in the medical field when looking at women and treating their illnesses. And I think because of that, women have it really hard when seeking diagnoses, to the point where some women stay undiagnosed for their whole life. I just wish that they knew how hard it was and how debilitating these disorders are, just in terms of everyday life. So on the inside, I'm constantly fighting a battle with my disorder, even though I may appear on the outside as doing well. And I've experienced a lot of stigma against just, oh, well, you were fine yesterday, so why aren't you today? And it really is such an ignorant frame of mind that it's almost unbelievable that people think that. So I really wish that healthy people or people without these disorders could actually experience, well, I don't wish that, but could actually know how difficult living with these conditions are, because it is a constant battle, and it is a 24/7, basically it's a job of trying to get on top of your symptoms and trying to live as much as a fulfilling life as possible as you can with your illness. I think it's really, really important just to remember that even though you can really forget, I guess, your purpose in life and the meaning of life, if you want to get philosophical about it, because of how heavy and how negative your experience with your condition is, you just have to keep reminding yourself every single day. So it's really looking at the small beauties that you see in everyday life. For example, it's going to sound very soppy, but I was in the car the other day and I happened to look up and I saw a flock of birds flying in unison, and they created such a spectacular pattern in the sky. And just seeing that really made me sort of shift my perspective to, even though the experience that you're going through right now is really heavy and really dark and you don't know if you can make it, there is always a reason to keep going. And this situation is only temporary, because even if you have a diagnosis that is long lasting, such as FND, it doesn't matter, because it will get better either way, because your perspective is always going to change. You're always going to do better mentally, and you're always going to find something to put your purpose into. So yeah, definitely stay hopeful. It gets worse, but then it also always gets better. Thanks for having me.